Evening, everyone. Welcome to the Devil's Advocate podcast. It's 9 o'clock. It's a Wednesday night, which means only one thing. Talk of the League is back. And thank God Julio's not on the show tonight. So me and Evan get a nice welcome break from all his bullshit.
Sick of
Only
fucking
joking, Julio.
listening to him.
If you're watching, Julio, I hope you're doing well, mate. Evan, how are you getting on, my
Fucking
friend?
man. Well, first off, I hope Julia's having a miserable fucking night for missing this. But look, I'm glad he's missing it because it's going to be a juicy one. It's going to be a juicy one. Yeah, no, I'm A1 now. I won't lie. I'm hectic with work, like hectic with work. But sure, we're pushing through, getting through it now. Not too bad.
That's it. That's all you can do. Push through.
That's
Keane
all you
is
can
in
do, man.
tonight in place of Julio. It's great to see you again, Keane. How are you getting on, my friend?
Oh, lads, it's fucking great to be back. I haven't been on this show since it's been back. And
The Messiah has returned, the chosen one.
chosen one, yeah. No, as Mourinho had said in this return press conference, Chelsea, he's the happy one. But that's me right now. I'm the happy one.
If I speak, I am big trouble. Big trouble.
Big trouble. But yeah, look, no, it's great to be back. I think it's been a long time coming to I've been on Talk the League. Even when Greg was hosting it 2 years ago, I was only on it once. I think I hosted.
This was a better version. Fuck Greg.
Evan has it out for Greg tonight. But look, yeah, it's good to be back. It's actually going to be a good thing to not talk about Man United, even though we're doing quite well at the minute. But it's good to kind of talk about other clubs and obviously not have my head wrecked about all the 101 things that's going on in my own club.
Yeah, it's a nice break, and you picked a good show to come on because this is going to be a taste one. Evan has been looking forward to this one all day in his top Premier League positions, and look, our friend is in the comments there, eloquent as always. Even Julio, hope you keep him well.
Bastard.
They are.
Have to keep the flag flying high for him after.
Good to see you in the comments, Julio. Good to see you in the comments. But look, lads, we'll start off with a bit of Premier League current chat and the curious case of Calvin Phillips, the very good friend of the Stretford end there a few weeks ago, getting all sorts of abuse when he was playing for West Ham. Evan, I'll come to you first on this one. What do you make of Calvin Phillips? Because he's gone from being one of the most desired number sixes in the Premier League with Leeds United, and his career has just taken an absolute nosedive since he went to Man City. Is he proof that the grass isn't always greener and these moves to the big clubs aren't always the right thing?
Being honest, I think it was more what every young player is going for now is chasing the moolah, chasing the big bucks, CER big bucks. And it's a case of Pep just has so much depth with that United squad that he's able to afford to keep starters on the bench. Like, do you know what I mean? It's madness. That's I think that's what's really catching him. I don't think it's his decline in ability. I think it's more of the depth of the squad that City have is what's keeping him on the bench, and the talent that's on that whole squad in general is what's holding him back. That he's unfortunately out of all that squad just on that bottom tier, and it's just the way it goes. Like, he just has to face facts. Like, that's how it is. So that squad is just too good, and to try burst onto that squad ahead of Rodri, who's not only doing immense, but he's knocking in goals as well this season as well. Like, and Pep is not going to give that up for Phillips. Like, it's I can't see it happening. Like, maybe in a shitty match. Like, I'm sure they've United still left to play again, but like, other than that, I can't see Pep swapping over unless Rodri gets injured. Like, but
do you think he was a bit naive there, thinking he could come in and just display someone like Rodri, who had proven his pedigree in winning trophies, and he was just coming from somewhere like Leeds, like, who had been a mid-table club and then got relegated? Was he a bit naive thinking he was going to come in, or do you think he actually does have the ability to overtake someone like Rodri?
Like, he is a young talent. Like, he is, in fairness. Like I think we're going to discuss it further on with Southgate's choices there, but like, it's not crazy to have goals and ambitions. Like, to wanting to burst through that team. And like anyone on that Leeds team, if City comes knocking, they're going to take it. Like without a doubt, they're going to take it.
Comment
So
in there section. What do you do? City come knocking your league. It's a fair point.
Exactly. There you go. Great minds think alike. But
do you know what though? Do you know with the Phillips deal from Leeds to City? Do you know Manchester City came in on the back of Man United preparing a bid? So they were doing it to make sure United wouldn't get him. Even though, to be fair, you probably like at the time it was debatable whether he would have started ahead of Scott McTominay or not. At the time.
That's what I was about to say. Would you start Phillips instead of McTominay?
But you wouldn't start ahead of Casemiro or Mainoo, no.
Well,
I wouldn't start ahead of McTominay either. McTominay's that's number 10, like now, or whatever you want to call it, like.
So he's an attacking defensive midfield.
Interesting comment here. I was just thinking this today about Matthias Nunes. I'd actually forgotten he'd even signed for Man City. I just seen his name on one of the squad sheet for last night's game against Brentford, and he was on the subs bench. I'd actually forgotten he'd even made the move to City. It's an example of another kind of, I don't know, City kind of flexing financial muscle on a player that did it really need.
Money talks, and they've security in money, so they do. Like they're going to stack that bench. So no matter who gets injured, who's out for how many weeks, that they have backup. They have backup in strength, and that's essentially what Pep is. He wants to guaranteed by, I hate saying it, but buying the league.
Reese says here in the comment, Phillips just doesn't fit that side. Keane, do you agree with that Phillips was never really a typical Pep sign that he could actually ever fit into that kind of style of play and that squad style of play and that setup?
No, because I don't agree with that at all. I think Callum Phillips could have sat in this number 6 role and picked up the ball from deep, and obviously kept safe possession, and Joe obviously play into the likes of De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva in more advanced positions. I do think he can do that. He's good. He's very smart in intercepting the ball, and obviously screening the midfield. But obviously Rodri's world class. He's the best midfielder in the league behind Kevin De Bruyne, in my opinion.
But the thing is, right? I think Phillips is on the same class of Pep buying players as of Grealish and Kyle Walker. He fits into that category of it's not like it wouldn't work. It obviously will work. So look at Kyle Walker; he's there for years. Grealish is kind of touch and go, right? But he still fits into that squad, like. So there's no reason why Phillips couldn't fit into that number 6 role, like Keane was saying.
There's no reason why he couldn't fit in. There's no reason why he couldn't fit in. But like when you have Rodri there, and also if you look at last season when Phillips had a few injuries, before Cancelo left, Cancelo was inverting from right back into midfield as well. So he's also behind João Cancelo as well, who's a top footballer. I seen him at Old Trafford 2 years ago, and I went to Ollie's second last game as manager, and Cancelo, like from right back, literally ran the show when he was drifting into midfield and creating play, fantastic on the ball. So we have technical players like Rodri, Cancelo at the time, and now John Stones kind of slipping into that role as well. It's kind of hard for him to kind of make his place into the team. But again, I do think it was more Manchester City buying him, so Manchester United couldn't, but Manchester United needed a 6. I don't
know. I'd have to disagree there. I think it was more strength on the bench, backup. But they were playing inverted midfielder, and they had Cancelo, they had Rico Lewis, they had John Stones, and then Akanji was also filling that role. So, yeah, I suppose, but I think it is more of a sole number 6. And I think that's what Phillips is. He's solely a number 6, like. Whereas the likes of Cancelo, they're drifting positions.
It's weird. Pep's just not a weird individual, but he's so tactically flexible. It's kind of hard to explain sometimes what he does with his system, but it's just so effective.
I suppose that's why he's manager of the top 6, and we're here chatting shit about him.
Yeah, he might be manager in top 6. He might be in the top 6 of League 2 very soon, but like.
Yeah, he's a bit of a mad genius like that, isn't he? I remember the back of the Champions League final in 2021 when Chelsea bet them that time during COVID, and he played without any holding midfielders or something like that.
He played Gundogan as 6 and had Rodri on the bench.
He was too tactical.
On the counter.
He overthought that situation,
He
definitely.
overthought it. He was losing sleep over it. Yeah. And I said it weeks beforehand. Werner in over the top. They're going to burst on pace with that because City had that high back line that night and they wouldn't let up. They wouldn't drift back to the keeper. That high line killed them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And just like staying on that point with Calvin Phillips, then looking ahead to the European Championships. And we know that Calvin Phillips is one of Gareth Southgate's go-to men. Obviously, we're 3 Irish men sitting here. We don't give a shit what England do in the Euros. We hope they absolutely pan out as normal. But it's still an interesting topic of debate. You look at Jordan Henderson as well, the other side, that cocked up Saudi Arabia move. He's now over at Ajax. So he's not really playing at a top level anymore. I mean, it poses an interesting question for the summer, and a name like someone like Kobbie Mainoo now is starting to get hotter and hotter week on week because the chap's form is just going through the roof. Keane, do you think there's a chance that Kobbie Mainoo could go to the Euros this summer with England and potentially even start in the centre of the park for England?
We look at the profile of midfielder that England had that of the England midfield. I think automatically Jude Bellingham and Declan Rice start. I do think Rice has to play as a 6. I think Southgate has to play Bellingham in the number 10 role rather than as an 8 because you look at Bellingham for Madrid this season.
Yeah, he's cooking.
He's done it from the number 10 role, and he's getting into the box. He's scoring goals. Yeah, do you know what I mean? He's being strong. He's making like Lampard-esque runs into the box though to score goals. Yeah. He's been very productive that way. I do think
he's everything. He's everything.
Yeah, he's absolutely everything. But if I'm looking at balance in midfield right now for England, you look at the number 6 role, Rice, creating cunt, he's going to play there anyway. Then you have Bellingham as number 10, where he's playing for Madrid. I do think England are lacking that number 8 to kind of come in, obviously be that kind of box to box, can help recycle play, can help retain the ball. I think Kobbie Mainoo can fit that role. I think one thing I have a concern about if he does go is just a bit too much too soon. I know he's a really good footballer. He's very mature in the way he plays. My concern is, would it be too much too soon? Kind of similar to what Rashford had. Remember when he was 18 and his development was streamlined. He went into the England squad 6 months into his United career. I think I'd just be slightly concerned, even though Mainoo has all the talent in the world and he's a brilliant player. But I just would be concerned if he went, because you know how the media, certain elements of the media, like to, best way to say it, they like to harass young black players. They like to harass young black players. I'm not going to sugarcoat, right? That's what they do. And they done to Rashford, they done to Saka, they done to Jadon Sancho. After that Euros, I'd just be concerned that would happen to him. I do think he's a candidate, and also another player that not many people are kind of talking about is Curtis Jones from Liverpool. I think he's someone, if you're looking at number ball carrier. Yeah. If you're looking at like his form for Liverpool this season.
He's been one of their best players this season, fairness to him.
He's flown under the radar.
Dark horse, like.
He's flown under the radar. I think, like, if you look at his ball carrying, his ability to kind of drive Liverpool forward in midfield, I do think, again, similarly to Kobbie Mainoo, though he's talented, he's a goal scorer.
But the thing is, right, the common denominator between all this is Southgate. And we've known from past experience, Southgate doesn't learn. He's no tactical gene in his body. Like, he doesn't learn from past experience is the problem. So is it a case of taking in all this new talent and just going with the same system he always runs with?
But even if he plays that,
England just getting shat on.
But the thing about it is, Evan, if he plays that midfield, like if he plays a 3 like he has been doing recently, right? The thing about it is, Calvin Phillips' legs won't be there because he has played fuck all football in 2 years. Jordan Henderson has basically been on the golf course in Saudi Arabia for 6 months, and now he's playing in the Eredivisie, where the pace of that league is crap. It's useless. Mm-hmm. So if Southgate if this is probably going to be his last tournament, he has to look at this in a way, and he has to take a risk, because if he doesn't, if he goes with the old tried and trusted, it's going to be a case where England are going to be. It's going to get to the bigger games like your Croatias, your Frances, your Portugals, your Spains, where England are going to need to retain the ball. They're going to have to be in a position where they can be competitive in midfield against these technical teams. And if he doesn't pick a Curtis Jones or Kobbie Mainoo, or even I'm going to say it, and people might crucify me here, but even players like Ross Barkley who can retain the ball. Players like that who...
Oh, God.
You
You're
know,
reeling
who
back
are...
the years, kid.
No, but these are players who can help retain the ball. They can be playmakers. They can be sixes. They can be eights. They can be tens. The thing that's really fucked England over in the last two tournaments, the semi-final and the final, is the ability to manage a game in midfield. The ability to slow it down. I remember when England were playing Italy in Euros, and they brought on Jordan Henderson, and before they brought on Henderson, they had a grip in the game. They were dominating the game. They brought on Henderson. They could not retain possession. He was booting it into the stands, and it allowed Italy back into the game. You look at the game against France, same thing. I like him. He plays Mason Mount. Mason Mount won the penalty, but Mason Mount was not helping retaining the ball. Do you know what I mean? I think England need that.
Yeah, Henderson likes to think that he's someone that he's not, and thinks he's this tactical fucking ball player, which he's not.
No, he hasn't a clue.
I can see it from an England fan's point of view. It looks frustrating. It does. It looks very frustrating. But the talent is there. Like, you want to look at who's in Chelsea? Like, you have Palmer, you have fucking Gallagher. Like the talent is there for England to go on and win trophies. Like, and I just can't understand how through all these years that England can't pull a winning team together, like, and the talent is just immense.
It's like the golden generation years ago. Remember when England had Gerrard, Lampard, and Scholes, and Sven-Goran Eriksson couldn't play all of them in the system? The common denominator is they didn't have Michael Carrick sitting in the middle. If Carrick was sitting in the six, Gerrard and Lampard, or Gerrard and Scholes, or Lampard and Scholes, they could have played as eights, but they played 4-4-2.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
System killed them.
It's the thing where I think Southgate needs, like, he has the six in Rice. He needs to play Bellingham in his best position further forward. He can play Bellingham as an 8, but the problem is you play Bellingham as an 8, you're losing kind of his best traits at the moment, which is his goal scoring ability, arriving into the box.
Oh yeah,
you're missing that.
See, I think Southgate wants to try win with that old English football formation. Wants the old English football way, and it's just not working with the players he has. Like, he needs to, like, there's only so many times you can say it without getting a pain in your face. He needs to fucking start pulling the fucking finger out and start watching club matches and actually watch them and fucking utilize the players in their proper positions to their unique ability. Like I said, with Bellingham in the 10th row, Rice in the 6. They need the solidness in it. Like,
the balance needs to be there. Like, look, again, I don't want to wax lyrical about England here, because certain individuals think I'm an England fan. I do not want that to come across on this podcast at all.
You're half English. What's going on?
Fun fact: I lived in England for a couple of years, but that was when I was a child, before I knew any sense. But like, I do think England have a pool of players right now where I do think they could win the next two tournaments. I do think they could win the Euros and the World Cup back to back if they were serious. If they had, let's say, I'm not even lying, if you had Jose Mourinho as England's manager right now, England would win the European Championships, right? Jose Mourinho would win. He's a tournament manager. He'd win it. If England had Graham Potter right now, they would win fuck all, right? Sweet, nada.
But it actually reminds me of a fact that I see on Twitter. I don't know, don't quote me exactly on it, but when was the last time an English manager won the Premier League?
Never.
No English manager won the Premier League.
There you go.
Sir Alex is Scottish. Sir Alex was Scottish. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's madness.
So he was like, Sir Alex was the last British manager to win the Premier League, but Sir Alex was an anomaly. Like, Sir Alex managed Aberdeen and beat Real Madrid in the European final. Like, that's how great that man was.
We'll come on to that topic in a little bit when we're talking about Premier League all-time greats. We'll hip it along to the situation with Vincent Kompany at Burnley, and it's a bit of a strange one because they haven't thrown a punch all season. They've looked like they're going to get relegated from the first game against Man City at home in Turf Moor. They've won one game all season, which was a 1-0 win over Sheffield United, which are another relegation fodder team. But madly enough, there's been absolutely no pressure on Vincent Kompany, no call for his head. Doesn't seem to be any immediate plans to sack him in order to survive at all costs in the Premier League. Evan, what have you made of that situation? Do you think Burnley are playing the long game with this, where they're happy maybe to get relegated this year, take the money from the parachute payments, build properly, and in 2 years' time, make a real go in the Premier League and become that Premier League mainstay again?
Exactly. I'm probably after saying this since we started back talking the league, that these bottom teams are after fixing the system and know they're going to get bank for doing fuck all, and then come next season, dominate the lower league, dominate the championship, come back up, and then stay up. They're just looking for that quick dash, and unfortunately, I think that's what a lot of them are doing nowadays. It is unfortunate to see, and it does take excitement out of the football. But like, it just goes to show, like, financially, clubs aren't about soccer anymore, in my opinion. Right? That might be controversial to some people. Come from my head if you want, but
look at our club. I fucking agree with you.
Well, there you go. Clubs are just an absolute money scheme now, right? Which is whatever. They're not about the passion of the game or the actual ball playing on the pitch. It's all about revenue, money coming in, money going out. And the case of with Burnley, they know they're going to get big bucks to do fuck all. So, like, why not just ride out the rest of the season? Hold on to the manager instead of paying him off fucking millions to just try get in a new lad and try keep fans happy. Like, fans are already lost. Burnley fans are already down and out. So just wait for next season. Play out the rest of the season. Get big bucks. Dominate championship. Buy decent players. Come back up and just stay on par. Stay above relegation from there on. Like, and if times get tough, just repeat the cycle. You know, and it's unfortunate it's shit the way you look at it, but if you can show me evidence that I'm wrong, fair enough.
Yeah, but they've become a bit of a yo-yo club, haven't they? They've kind of been up and down, up and down, up and down. A little bit like Fulham over the past few years, and Wolves.
Financially, it just makes sense. Like, to stay relevant, to stay alive, it just makes sense to just go down, get that big buck.
You talk about spending. I want to bring up a couple of just the money they spent last summer, because you can talk about getting parachute payments, but the fact they've only 3 league wins this season, and you look at the outlay they've had compared to like Luton Town, let's say, and Everton, they got, I can't pronounce this fella from Basel, but they got Zeki Amdouni, I think that's how you pronounce it, £18 million for a promoted club. James Trafford from Man City, 17.3 million. Aaron Ramsey. Yeah, look, this is what I'm saying for promote club. Like, you have Aaron Ramsey, 16.45 million. You have Jordan Bayer, 15 million. Sander Berg, 13.9. So you may as well round it up to 14 million. Wilson, I can't pronounce his second name, sorry, but 12 million. And then Darragh O'Shea, fucking Irish man, 8 million.
You're definitely up about 80 million there, like. Yeah, you're not far off 80 million, like.
That's what I'm saying. You're talking nearly, if you do all the quick maths there, right? You're talking about nearly north to 80 to 100 million they've spent as a promoted side, and that's not to say, when you look at the loan transfers they got Fofana from Chelsea, who's been decent the last couple of weeks, to be fair. You know, Vel Veghorst got sent out on loan. You look at they've got a few free transfers like Nathan Redmond, who do have decent wages as well. So they have spent, and I do think one thing I'd say about Vincent Kompany, I think he's massively underachieved this season, because if you take into context what people were saying about Burnley at the start of the season compared to now, me included, I had them staying up. I had them finishing about 15th, 14th this season. But considering it was because of the outlay they had last summer, and because the football Vincent Kompany was playing in the championship, where they're playing front foot football, and they spent nearly 100 million on top of what they're already after spending the season before in the championship. So, like, when I look at that and I look at how the way Burnley are playing, whereas like tactically during games, Vincent Kompany is not adaptable. He's still, even when they're getting battered in the games, he's still trying to play that same type of way. And it kind of reminds me of, remember Blackpool a good few years ago when they're in the Premier League?
Yeah.
Go back years now, kid.
Yeah, like
2010, 11, yeah.
2010-11 season, where they tried to play front foot football. And some weeks it was entertaining to watch, but more often than not, more often than not, they got battered. And like I do think Kompany needs to be like, well, I think they're fucked anyway. They're relegated now.
But the thing is, right? Do you think they're spending money for the championship? Do you think they're spending for next season? Is the thing. It comes back to my point.
100 million to play in the championship.
Oh, well, it seems like that they're holding out for the championship. They're waiting for next season ball. Like
the owners don't seem desperate to stay in the Premier League.
They just don't care.
They've given up because they're getting battered every week. You don't spend 100 million before you get promoted, and then with the expectation that with a manager like Vincent Kompany, who was a big name, you don't spend 100 million. The
thing is, 100 million in today's game, is it a lot
for a promoted side? It is.
Promoted side it is, yeah.
Table. Like, let's say if you're a team that's hinging from like 12th down to, let's say, 20th in the league right now, 100 million is plenty.
Yeah, but to we'll say, like, we won't even say try to compete for the title.
Yeah, I agree. When you look at the likes of Man United spending 200 million or 240 million, like, for the ambition of getting Champions League football and potentially challenging, then 100 million is more than enough, I think, to be spent to try and survive in the Premier League. Definitely.
Especially when you consider the players being on loan as well and free transfers. Like that's what I'm saying. If even outside, like if you look at like the outlay of transfer fees, it's nearly 100 million. But then outside of the transfer fees, you're talking about the players on loan and free transfers. You're talking about, let's say, if I talk it up on the top of my head, about 120 to 130 million worth of talent imported into the club since last summer. And some of them players like James Trafford, who was one of the highly thought young goalkeepers coming through. Was it the World Cup or Euros he won in the summer? Which one?
Euros, I think it was.
Euros, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you look at when you look at like Luton Town spending fuck all, getting Ogbene for like what 2-3 million, and being very effective. Ross Barkley on a free, like you look at that outlay.
I think actually I think that Ross Barkley on a free is probably one of the best signings of the season.
It is, yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
If not the,
and it's so overlooked. It's so overlooked.
Yeah.
If not the, I know. Look, at the end of the season, we'll probably do a tier list of signing the season worth signing. There'll probably a couple of United players on there.
There's more than a couple, kid. There's more than a couple.
Yeah, like if you look at signings this summer, like last summer, I do think Ross Barkley is definitely up there for like bargain
for sure.
I didn't say Johnny Evans on a free to Man United as well. It looks
that's up there.
I went mad about that transfer, but if you look at that now for free transfer,
people did.
Yeah. And like look again, just shows, don't it? Don't judge a book by its cover sometimes.
That's true.
Yeah, the Burnley one, it's a strange one. I think there's a bit of a system there, and like Evan said, we kind of discussed it a few weeks ago, myself and him and Julio, about that kind of exploitation that some clubs are using them parachute payments, and it's probably not so much the clubs that should be blamed, it's the system that's there to be exploited. Maybe we need to look at using that money a little bit better in the lower leagues, spreading it out.
Do you think you mentioned parachute payments? You mentioned parachute payments. Do you think Burnley only break even when they get them, considering their outlay there? They don't
potentially so. Yeah, potentially so. Yeah.
Yeah, but then just to dominate championship next season, like,
why the fuck would you pay 100 million to dominate the championship though? You could do that with about 40.
Yeah, but it's still just a guarantee. It's just that benchmark. Do you know what I mean? Just to guarantee that going up, like.
But if they were going to do
there's a lot more money than to go up and go down.
But this is my thinking on it. If you want to dominate the championship, why the fuck do they sack Sean Dyche then?
Yeah.
Why did you get a big name in Vincent Kompany if you're relying on parachute? with the championship. Like, do you know what I mean?
Could
I
be.
think
I think they
be a
got
beard.
promoted. I think they got promoted ahead of schedule. I think they were planning for long term under Kompany. I think last
Yeah.
season went a bit better than what they expected because they absolutely blew that league away last year. And if
Yeah.
you remember that summer before when they got relegated, they got decimated. They lost literally the spine of their team. Nearly everyone left. I had them tipped to get relegated to League One, but they just absolutely came out of nowhere. Played unbelievable football in the championship, which you don't normally see. And they got promoted easily. I think they were ahead of schedule.
I think you'd see football be restored if you take away that parachute money and make teams actually fight to stay up. I think we'll say what? I think clubs in 16th, 15th, 14th, is that, am I right in saying that? Or is it 17, 16, and 15th? I think they should get I think they should get the money. And that would make clubs fight to stay up. That's where it gets interesting. I think that's where clubs need to. It'll show better quality football, more dog in the fight in the games.
It's more incentive, isn't it? Like,
exactly. Give them a reason to stay up. Don't give them a reason to drop down. You know, that kind of way.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it means you're going to have more variety in terms of the teams that are getting promoted from the championship as well, rather than looking at the same teams coming up every second season, which is getting a bit boring for the league. It'll affect the brand long term anyway.
Yeah.
But look, it is what it is. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, competition. That's the key to what we're looking at, isn't it? Every week it's competition, healthy competition. Look, we'll move on to the juicy stuff. So the stuff that Evan has been rubbing his hands over all day, and that is we're going to look back on the all-time Premier League ranking lists. So we'll start off with strikers. So Evan, top 3 strikers. Start the debate off. Who would you have in the top 3?
Right.
We'll start with number 3, in your opinion.
You have to go based on goals. The strikers are there for goals, right? And it's just out and out facts that you have to. That's the sole job of strikers, get goals. So number 3, it kills me to do it, but you have to do it, is Wayne Rooney. Has to go in. 3. Number 3, Wayne Rooney. And I can see Keane's face already. You can see his face already, right? Now, there can be biased opinions in it, and it all comes down to what do you base off best? Goals, ability, talent, just how biased opinions on how much you like the player or hate the player. But facts are facts, like, and then you have to realize that's what you have to base on. It's just pure goals. So number 2, I went with Shearer. Obviously, all-time Premier League goal scorer. Has to win there.
Interesting to see who your number 1 is here.
It's pure dramatic pause.
His number 1 is definitely kill him if he has Shearer number 2.
It's pure out dramatic pause, and it's beautiful to see. It's beautiful to see the terror in your faces, and I'm sure everyone that's watching as well. It just can't wait for me to say it. It's brilliant. It's beautiful. But I'm not going to do it. I'd love to say Drogba. I would love to say Drogba. Goal scoring machine, king of Stamford Bridge. Huh?
I was about to press that remove button so fast.
I'd love to say it. Unfortunately not. And I'm not going to be biased tonight. Number 1, right? I'm going to put Henry. So I am. I'm going to put Henry.
Good show.
And I'm going to base it on goals, talent, and just out and out flair and likable player. Like, he was sensational for Arsenal. Absolutely sensational. To watch him score goals where he scored it was just beautiful to watch. Even against your own club, it's magical. It is magical. Now, there has been some brilliant goals scored and some brilliant players coming in through the years, but I think Thierry Henry just had that excitement and that flair about it, and he's just number 1 for me.
Interesting call. Keane, where do you stand?
Number
just
3.
Actually, an honourable mention. Just an honourable mention before we say
don't do honourable mention. Don't do honourable mention. No. Oh, you bastard! He's my number 3. You absolute wanker. He's my number 3. You right. skip what Evan said there. Sergio Aguero is my number 3.
Balotelli!
Sergio Aguero is my number 3. Obviously, he has 184 goals in the Premier League in a short space of time.
Yeah.
Absolute demon. If you want to talk about goal scoring, overall impact, like as much as Man City are cheating bastards, he was very integral in that first Premier League title win. And over the years, just popping up for Man City in them games. Like we're basing off goals. I'm basing off goals and overall impact. Sergio Aguero is my number 3. Look, I'm just being unbiased. I could put 3 United strikers in there if I wanted to. I'm just being unbiased.
No, you've got to be neutral. You've got to be fair.
Sergio Aguero is my number 3. He gave me many nightmares going to games. Do you know what? The one time I could have got to see Sergio Aguero, myself and Shane went over to United against Man City in the 2017-18 season at Old Trafford just before Christmas. And me and Shane thought Sergio Aguero was going to play. Pep started Gabriel Jesus, right? And Pep had Aguero warming up all game, and he didn't bring him on. He didn't bring him on all game.
Sick.
And like there's a great catalogue of players I've seen live at Old Trafford, like been to like Champions League and Premier League games. So I'm not that I'm sad to say, because he probably would have scored the bastard, but though I've never seen him play live. My number 2 is Thierry Henry. So again, we're going off goals, but again, as an overall player, he was electric. He was quick. As a striker, he'd drift out left. He'd go out the right. He'd down the middle. He was he's very good at that. And yeah, he could score from range. He could score tap-ins. Look, he was a good player. Again, unbiased, because like if you look at my number 2 and my number 3, one gave me one of my most devastating time as a Man United fan, and my number 2 gave me my most devastating moment as an Irish fan. And I am being completely unbiased here, in that sense. And look, they're both multiple-time Premier League winners as well, so that's why I have the 2 of them at number 2 and number 3. But my number 1 is Wayne Rooney. Again, I have to look at his goals to game ratio, 263 goals. That's like 253 goals for Man United. I gave him an extra 10 there. And he done that playing as a striker, obviously as a number 10 and as a winger. I know but Wayne Rooney could have had about 300 goals if he wasn't so unselfish. And the fact he has that level of goals playing for Manchester United during a very successful time period, I do think I actually think he's not that he's underrated, but he's underappreciated. From like Man United fans and just fans around the world. I think he was an exceptional footballer, and he done it from the age of 16 all up the way to like the age of 30 in the Premier League. So for that reason, I gave Wayne Rooney my number 1. You want to mention honorable mentions a minute ago. Not one of us have him in top 3. Andy Cole.
Yeah, I was just thinking Andy Cole. Yeah.
Fair shout.
He's an honorable mention for me. I want to give a stat with Andy Cole. Andy Cole has 187 Premier League goals. Not one of them is a penalty.
That's crazy, yeah.
Not 187 goals and no penalties. Whereas Harry Kane is number 2 on the list with 213 goals, and there's a lot of them that are penalty kicks. Whereas if you look at Andy Cole, 187 with none. Like I was tempted to put Andy Cole number 3, but I think Aguero, I know he's 3 goals less, but I do think he's slightly better than Cole as an all-round footballer.
To touch on that, I think Aguero deserved a lot more time in the Premier League.
Yeah, injuries.
He deserved a lot more time.
Yeah, so that was a tough one. I did think long and hard about Andy Cole, but I just was looking at.
Yeah, you did, you dirty bastard.
I definitely did. Yeah, I think about him all the time. No, my number 3 then. Number 3 was the toughest one, because I did have Kane in my head as well, in fairness to him, because look, I know he hasn't won a trophy, but you cannot deny that man's goal scoring ability, his ability to drop deep, bring players into play, a really good player. I would love him to join United. But number 3 was Henry, for the reasons that you gave as well. Just he gave me so much headaches as a kid. My brother's a big Arsenal fan, and when they were winning leagues and Henry was banging goals in, it was an absolute nightmare. But he was, when you look back neutrally, like he was one of the greatest ever imports into the Premier League. He's an absolute fantastic player. Number 2 then would be Shearer, because just as pure goal return, absolute goal scoring machine, and he probably would have scored even more if he'd have actually joined Man United instead of going to Newcastle. I know he said he doesn't regret that move, but how could you not regret it when you look at the...
Just on that,
I have
a question for that. Do you think, right, just hypothetically speaking, if Shearer did sign for United and we didn't sign Solskjaer, do we still win the treble?
Interesting one.
Oh, see, it's the butterfly effect there now, you see.
Yeah, a big time. It's crazy,
If Shearer's there, we don't get full in York, do we?
Yeah. That's it,
a show in itself now.
Next week's show.
We could actually do a what if series. A what if series.
Yeah, what if, yeah. But yeah, no, number 1 then, I agree with Keane, and it's not even just purely with a Man United hat on. It's just, I loved him when he burst on the scene ever, and it's Wayne Rooney. It has to be. He's just
fucking outnumbered here.
One of my all-time favorite footballers. I just think he fucking had it all. He, like, his career spiraled near the end, I think, because he burst on the scene so young, and his physique, he just didn't look after himself the same way Ronaldo did later on.
It's the drinking, that's why.
Exactly, yeah. He just didn't care as much. Yeah, exactly, yeah. Finding himself in brothels and everything. But no, I'd have to have him as number 1. I just think his all-around game, and he had the goal-scoring ability as well on top of that. So, yeah, no, Wayne Rooney definitely be my number 1. So, next position then, I'm going to split this into 2. I was just going to say midfield, but I'm going to go wingers first because I think it can be quite broad.
I didn't know we were going to do wingers now.
I'll do it off the cuff. I don't care.
Yeah, do it off the cuff quickly, right? Top 3 wingers. You have a lot to pick from here. So top 3 wingers in the Premier League of all time.
I'll go. Number 3, David Beckham. Beckham's assists. He was an old school winger. His goals, his free kicks, his crossing, absolutely unbelievable, and it was robbed of a Ballon d'Or in 1999. Number 2, Eden Hazard. Again, one of the greatest wingers in Premier League history. Was one of the more modern, beat your man, dribbling skills, absolutely unbelievable. Number 1, Cristiano Ronaldo. Them years in the Premier League, he was the best player in the world. And look, you look at his goal scoring as a midfielder, as a winger, he was absolutely sensational. And even like if you look at his big game impact for Man United when we won the 3-peat, like there's no, like if you look at the battles him and Ashley Cole used to have in them games, there's not many, like obviously defenders who can neutralize Ronaldo, but equally there's not many wingers who would give Ashley Cole a run. You know what I mean? Now I was tempted to put Ryan Giggs in there, but I do think Beckham is just better than Giggs. And that's just my personal opinion. But they're my 3 anyway.
Evan, top 3 wingers.
I'm stuck for 3, right? I'm stuck for number 3. I think it's obvious, evidently, Ronaldo and Hazard, respectfully.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Well, in what order?
Hazard number 1. Oh my God, that's shouldn't leave me question. Hazard number 1 has to be number 1. I think it's blasphemy having Hazard number 2. It's absolutely ridiculous. Watching that man break his back to carry Chelsea through some of them seasons was just sensational. Ronaldo, there's not a question there. Like, the only man that rivals him is Hazard. Like, he's number 1. Number 3 is where I'm stuck, and it comes into play for me, modern football and modern players. And I think, as much as nostalgia loves to get me, it's hard to rule out Salah, because there's so much with all that debate on Twitter between prime Salah and prime
Premier League in 9 years is amazing, isn't it?
No, hold on, we're not going off titles here. We're going off ability and talent. If we're going off trophies,
body of work though. Like if you put everything into a nutshell, talent, time served, goals, assists, and obviously goals and assists will help Salah.
Goals and assists are there. You have longevity as well. Salah is still here, like Salah is serving his time, so you can't take that away from him. Like history is history. I understand that, like, and longevity, nostalgia, trophies, goals, assists, they all come into play. But you do have to take into account that modern day football. And Salah is as much as I hate Liverpool with passion, Salah is sensational. He is, and I think. Do you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna say it live here. I think Bex is overrated. I think Bex is
Jesus
overrated.
Christ. Where's that kick
I
out?
don't give a shit. Bex is overrated, and I know Reese is gonna come from my head, and everyone's gonna come from my head. Bex is overrated. Fuck the lot. Fuck United. Fuck Bex. It is a shame how he was treated in the Premier League. But I think Salah slips at third for me. Simple as. I think you have to look at modern day football.
Third. I can absolutely 100% accept Salah as a third because like he's has a very good record, and he, like, to be fair, like, look, he's done well to fucking come back after the way he was treated at Chelsea, to be fair. But to say Beckham's overrated, I think that's
what?
I think that's one of the most outrageous statements ever, that David Beckham was overrated. I think that's outrageous.
Oh, look at me, I can bend the ball. Ooh.
He's probably the best crosser of a football in the Premier League's history, without a shadow of a doubt. That man's consistency.
It's him, then Trent Alexander-Arnold. So two, like,
without a doubt. Their ability to
Beckham number one, Trent number two.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt.
You can't say someone's best for just solely on their ability to cross the ball.
It wasn't that though. He's free kicks.
The score and assist, and he done both.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think
that's literally what a winger's job is. Hold on, Evan. You're mentioning.
But look, you have to have a bit of controversy. You have to have a bit of controversy.
I know. And this way it's a debate. But like you're saying, like all he done was cross the ball. He also scored from open play. He also scored from free kicks. He also scored from the fucking halfway fucking line. Had the fucking audacity to fucking slide at.
I was waiting for it to come up.
No, but do you know what I mean? Like, he's done all these different things. He's a complete footballer. He's not like, if you really want to break down overall player, he's a better out and out footballer than Mo Salah. Mo Salah's just a goal scorer, whereas David Beckham was a more complete footballer.
It's fair. He does suit that winger position better, but.
Like,
we'll do a show on that one as well.
Football's evolved because now a right winger now is an inside forward, whereas back in the day it was a winger was expected to do everything. Whereas if you're playing in the 4-3-3 and you're playing on the right now, it's about cutting in and scoring.
That is fair.
You know, whereas David Beckham, like, if you look at David, I don't want to be nostalgic here. I fucking hate it because United are shit now. But like, you know, David Beckham used to run up and down the wing. He'd do his defensive work. He'd get the ball. He'd switch it to Giggsy, or he'd fucking play Rooney. Well, he wasn't playing Rooney. He played with fucking Dwight York and Andy Cole. He'd pump it through to them or pump it through to Solskjaer. Like, he was a complete footballer. I actually think if you look at like an all-time Man United 11, he gets in. He gets in.
Mm-hmm.
I think he gets in ahead of Ryan Giggs. And like,
I think so. He will get into my 11.
On the podcast a couple of weeks ago, I'd love to ask him the question.
Mm-hmm.
Who's this?
I was just saying,
Reese?
I was like, we Giggsy's brother on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. I'd love to ask him who he actually thinks is like a better complete out and out footballer. Was it Giggs or was it Beckham?
In his unbiased opinion.
Do you know who's an honourable mention? Yeah, an honourable mention, and it has to be Joe Cole.
Oh yeah,
fuck off.
Seriously, not an
all time. No, I would have him in the top 10.
Player, yeah, he was ahead of his time.
You wouldn't have him in top 10?
Nah, not in fucking Premier League wingers. No way. No, not a chance.
Jonathan, stop it now. Stop it. Don't upset me.
Right, look, we'll move on, otherwise we'll be here till about fucking 11:30 tonight going through this. Quickly, my three would be I actually would have Hazard first. I think he was genuinely one of the Premier League's best ever dribbling winger. I genuinely do. I really do. Yes. And also I think Ronaldo, his best years when he hit that like peak of being world class, he started to become more central and more kind of up top with Rooney kind of on the left. So I do actually think he was more of a striker in the end. So Hazard would be my top. Salah would be my number 2, I think, because he's just been, his numbers are unbelievable. They're
Oh,
fucking ridiculous.
really?
And then number three then would be Bex for me. Yeah, but
No Ronaldo.
they're
No
just
Ronaldo.
gonna. Oh,
Give
No
a spanner in the
Ronaldo.
works there, Jonathan.
That's
Yeah.
a controversy now.
yeah.
I thought
I just
Evan-
think
I thought-
like the man was unbelievable. Don't get me wrong, but I just think all-time
was
Premier League
orthodox.
wingers. I just think, I'll just come in at the end with that one. But we'll move on now to midfielders. This is going to be a controversial one. Top 3 central midfielders. Evan, go.
All right, it's without a doubt, shadow of a doubt, Lamps is number 1. Without a shadow of a doubt, I will fucking die on any hill. Lampard is the best Premier League midfielder. And I don't care what you want to say, he is solely. He's just fucking amazing. Chelsea, man, I am being biased now here as well. But the man just couldn't stop scoring goals for a fucking midfielder. It's just amazing. Number 2, as much as I hate to say it, is Stevie G. That leadership talent was just sensational. You have to put him up there. See, this is the thing about this. When you talk about midfielders, it always comes down to the 3 with Lamps, Steven Gerrard and Scholes. It always comes down to them 3, right? So there's no way you can't put Steven Gerrard in there. Now my issue is the 3rd spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's and I don't think Scholes fits in there. I don't
Jesus
think
Christ.
Scholes fits in there.
Evan,
Oh, you're
he
on
doesn't, man. He doesn't.
that's a mortal
Scholes
sin.
He doesn't do it for me. He doesn't do it for me. He just doesn't.
He did it for us for 20 fucking years.
I don't care who he done it for. He just doesn't do it for me. And I like it's hard. It's hard not to do it, right?
So who's your number 3 then?
So my number 3 is Cesc Fabregas, right? And now there's 1,000,001 players they put in there. You have fucking Makelele, literally position named after him. So you do. You have Yaya Toure, an absolute fucking animal of a man in that midfield role. But there's comes back to the Thierry Henry talk. Just something magic about watching him play every week. It was just sensational to see the passes he'd give, the balls he used to play. Oh my God. When he used to link up with Costa even. Oh, the 2 were just dynamic. Everyone feared Chelsea when them 2 linked up. And it was just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful football.
Are you basing Cesc Fabregas as your number 3 based off his time with Chelsea?
No, just with his time with Arsenal as well. But I'm just saying, I'm just pinpointing his time with Chelsea was just beautiful to watch. So it was.
Porto scored.
Who?
Porto 1-0 up against Arsenal.
Lovely.
Oh fuck! That's a very tough time for me now to see Arsenal, and I hope William is fucking kicking himself. But anyway, yeah. Back to the point.
My top 3.
My 1 Lamps, number 2 Stevie G, and number 3 Cesc.
Keane, far away.
Fabregas is in my top 5. He's in top 5, top 6. He's not my top 3. I'll go from 3rd to 1st. 3rd, I'm going Roy Keane. That isn't name bias. He was the complete midfielder. He could score, he could assist, he could track back, he could break up play. He'd done everything. And you talked about leader, Evan. This man was the reason why Man United won a treble more or less in 99. That performance against Juve in that semi-final, he got suspended, but single-handedly dragged United to a Champions League final and played through injury as well. And his body of work when he went to league titles as well. Roy Keane's number 3. Number 2 for me is Kevin De Bruyne.
Fair.
In terms of
fair show.
In terms of body of work in the Premier League, his longevity, his consistency, his ability to pass the ball, create chances, score goals. And again, I think a lot of this work might end up being tainted if City get found guilty. But right now, whilst they're not been found guilty, you have to tip your hat to him. I do think for the amount of years he's done it.
Even if found guilty, I still think you can't take away with his ability.
You can't take away what he's done, but he's not going to have any league titles by the end of it, like that type of way. But like, look, tomato. That's a minute. Tomato.
Another show.
Yeah. But like in terms of his body of work, I can't look past him on the leagues he's won with City and how he's done it, and in the seasons where City have won like 98 points, 100 points, 99 points. He's been the center of that, and he's been like the. If you look at the way Pep's moved players on, there's one player who's a constant in this Manchester City team, and it's Kevin De Bruyne. Now the only thing I'd tear Kevin De Bruyne down with is his. In some cup finals, i.e. some Champions League finals, he's gone missing. He's got injured. In some of the big games, he's got injured. That's the only thing I'd tear him with. But other than that, he's my number 2. Number 1 is the person who you didn't have in number 3. It's Paul Scholes. Paul Scholes done it for over 20 years in the Man United midfield. The best passer the Premier League has ever seen. Scored a ridiculous amount of goals. Screamers all over the shop. And Scholes came out of retirement, went into retirement a Premier League winner, came out of retirement with a pair of 50 quid boots on and won another Premier League. So I don't give a fuck what anybody says. You can have all these you can have all these Twitter hipsters, and you can have all these people who say Lampard is the best midfielder or Gerrard's the best midfielder. When you look at what they were doing at them specific ages, Paul Scholes came out of retirement and then came back out of retirement. Won a Premier League. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I think he's undisputedly number 1. Now some people might say Cesc Fabregas. Look, he's a brilliant midfielder. What he done at Arsenal was great. Brilliant. You have players like Yaya Toure. I wanted to put him in my top 3 in place.
He's a fucking animal. Yaya Toure is so overlooked.
I had to look at longevity, and I had to look at those certain things, and I had to look what I want to see in my midfielder. There's no way I couldn't put Roy Keane not in number 3, especially when he's when you deep it. He's the greatest captain in Premier League history. Yeah. But not only that, he's he was the complete package. I think injuries kind of fucked him over towards the end of his career. And yeah, look, I'll give Steven Gerrard his flowers. He single-handedly carried Liverpool during some very troubling times. But just the one thing I'd say to you about Steven Gerrard is, yes, he carried Liverpool through some moments. He won games on an individual basis. Looking around times, maybe he'd give away a ball. Looking around, the biggest example is Steven Gerrard for me. And the reason why I won't put him in my top 3, when Liverpool won the Champions League in 2005, Gerrard was playing midfield when they were 3-0 down. And he was erratic. Giving away the ball. He couldn't cope with AC Milan's midfield. Rafa Benitez moved him to right back because he was getting torn to shreds in the Champions League final. Yeah, he did go on to score the header that got 3-1. But in that big game, he had to change his setup because Gerrard wasn't disciplined enough as a midfield there against a big side.
Mm-hmm. So that you can't, but you can't base off one game.
I'm not basing off one game. But Gerrard also bottled the league for Liverpool in 2014, so it's not a fucking hope I'm putting him in the top 4, top 3.
That was probably one of the best moments ever.
I know it's probably one of the best moments of Premier League
against a Chelsea B team.
It was.
Well, he single-handedly
lost Chelsea B team.
Think deep it for a second. You look at the Chelsea game. Single-handedly lost the league for Liverpool in that game. But also, secondly, the Crystal Palace game when they drew 3-3, the game after that, he was also integral in them dropping points in that game as well. So equally, if you look at the cups, in the cups for Liverpool, he was great. In the league for Liverpool, he was great. But just being great is good, but great is not good enough in this case.
Yeah. Stevie me. Anyway, my top 3 really quickly because we have to move on 2 more positions. Number 3, Roy Keane, similar to Keane. Right, I just couldn't leave him out just for his absolute overall ability and influence on the club. Number 2, Frank Lampard for sure. Without a doubt, you couldn't leave him out in the top 3. His ability to score goals, and he was just some man. His timing to arrive in the box was second to none. He was absolutely phenomenal goal scorer midfielder, and statistically the best goal scorer midfielder in Premier League history. And then number 1, then for me, is Scholes as well. I couldn't think of anyone ahead of him. Honestly, just couldn't. So that was an easy choice for me. Though. Yeah, there we are. We know who you picked ahead of him. Right, we go with defenders then. Not just defenders in general. Top 3 defend, not fullbacks, not centre backs specifically. Top 3, just defenders in Premier League history.
Hold on.
I'm going to go first.
Defenders now we're saying.
Well, they played in the back
go
four.
First, though. Go on, go first.
Play in the back four.
Right.
I'll
Back
You can
four,
pick,
so we're saying.
pick whatever way you want. You can pick 3 left backs if you want. Pick 3 right backs. It's open.
I've done centre halves, but I'm going to switch it up, right? Because it's defenders, I'm going to throw 1 fullback in here. I'm going to go Ashley Cole, number 3. As over, like, he played in the Invincibles team, and he played in that Chelsea team. So yeah, he goes in number 3. So people are in group chats are probably battering me right now for saying that, but it is what it is.
They shouldn't though. They shouldn't.
But they probably will. They probably will. Number 2, John Terry. Again, he's unbelievable. The captain, proper leader, and yeah, he delivered a big moments for Chelsea. And then number 1's Rio. That's just my. And I'm going to go through my reasons. They're my top 3: Cole, Terry, and Rio.
Evan.
Yeah, look, I don't think there's a debate there. Once you said defenders, it opened up to left and right back, and I only have one difference with Keane is Rio and Terry switch for me. That's my only difference. I don't think anyone that moves off of that, I think they're just fooling themselves. There is arguments there, but apart from that, what's that?
You get someone's going to try to throw Virgil van Dijk in there. He's in a conversation, but like I think Rio and Terry are levels.
He's in the top 10 conversation. He's not
top
in top
10,
3.
Yeah.
And I think everyone's agreement with that. It comes down to a case of when you're solely looking at defenders in general, you have to have Cole in there, left back. Like if you're talking about centre backs in general, then it's a more open discussion. But I think them 3 are solidified.
I'll give you 3 centre halves. I'll give you what my actual top 3 was, right? Because I didn't know fullbacks were actually in this. My top 3 were Yap Stam, John Terry, and Rio Ferdinand. They were my 3 defenders.
Mine was Tony Adams, 3rd, and then Rio and Terry.
My 3, even though we've included full backs, I just focus on centre backs, and I would go Rio 3rd, Terry 2nd, and Vidic top.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't.
Vidic was an honourable mention. Vidic was an honourable mention.
2-time player of the season, like a centre back.
You think he was better than Yap Stam? Vidic.
See, I just don't think Stam didn't play in the Premier League long enough for me. Like he was unreal. He's only United's greatest.
What about Tony Adams though?
Nah, not in the top 3 for me. Definitely top 6, 7, but not higher than that.
This is a Chelsea man arguing Tony Adams.
Yeah. Oh, Tony Adams was a brick wall of a man, like, but no, that's not in terms of.
But let's just say you're including fullbacks. Those cold.
I definitely, if I was going a bit looser, I would have included Ashley Cole. I think he's one of the best fullbacks in Premier League history without a shadow of a doubt. He transformed.
Let's give 3 fullbacks quickly. Fuck it, right? I'll give my 3 fullbacks.
Go on, fire away.
Ashley Cole, number 1. Dennis Irwin, number 2. Kyle Walker, number 3.
That's exactly.
Gary Neville 4th. Gary Neville has to be 4th though.
I don't know. I would just. The only thing I differ with you there is I'd swap Walker and Neville. That's the only difference I'd have with you there. But I'd agree with you there on fullbacks.
No, I'd keep Walker. I'd keep that exact same list. Yeah, but I wouldn't have Gary at 4.
You'd have him at 24, would you?
No. I'd have him at 5th. I'd have him at 5th. You have Ivanovic.
Ivanovic had a Gary Neville.
Yeah,
are you fucking serious?
What are you smoking?
Has to be. No.
Do you have weed in them Lost Marys?
Puffing that early, also cheesy.
Right, goalkeepers. Go. Keane.
Go.
No, Keane start. Go ahead.
Right, go on, Keane.
In number 3, Peter Schmeichel.
Yeah, I just agree. If I have I'll tell you. Like I have Schmeichel in 3.
Peter Schmeichel, number 3. I absolutely can't stand the man. I'm going to be completely honest. Anyone who knows me long enough knows I can't stand the man. He calls Man United we after playing for Manchester City. You lost that right the minute you signed for City. So, you can't call us we. But yeah, you were unbelievable for us. But you're not our best ever goalkeeper. In number 2, I've Edwin van der Sar.
Yeah, perfect. And then we know who's number 1.
Yeah, Edwin van der Sar.
Taibbi.
Yes, I'm asking about Taibbi, number one. No, but like, look, he kept the clean sheet
Sorry?
record. Yes, the British clean sheet record. Again, he was good, but I think that clean sheet record, similar to how David De Gea won the Golden Glove, was down to Rio and Vidic at the back. How he kept that clean sheet record. And then number one, Petr Cech. I look at Chelsea.
Beautiful.
I look how Chelsea conceded the 15 goals that season. He was a fucking monster in the net. And he was very good for Chelsea down the years. I think that skull injury, Stephen Hunt lived down the road from Clonmel, and Carrick knees Petr Cech into the head, which probably shortened his career a bit. Look,
it affected his judgment because he moved to fucking Arsenal after that.
Yeah,
he only was Arsenal to retire. That's what all Chelsea players do. They just go to Arsenal to retire.
They're my three. I think Schmeichel, Van der Sar, and
Cech.
Yeah.
I 100% agree in that order.
Yeah.
That's my top three.
That's probably the first.
I give an honorable mention to David De Gea.
You can. I'll back that. I'll back it. I have
for his 5 years in 2013 and 2018. Unbelievable.
He's one of the best shot stoppers in the Premier League history, in fairness to him. Up until last season, he was a really good shot stopper.
We won't talk about last season because I'll end up getting PTSD.
Man won the Golden Glove. You have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Put it in there.
Oh, yeah. Andre Onana is second. Andre Onana is second for the Golden Glove right now. Come on.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, yeah. Evan, I assume you agree with that ranking there, then, yeah?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think that's the first. I knew before Monday came, I knew that's what we'd agree on. Before we talked about top threes of anything, I knew 100% we'd agreed on the keepers. I think anything else is blasphemy, is madness. So, but for sure, Cech number one, Van der Sar. There is an argument between the two of them. It's very close for number one.
It is close, yeah.
It is.
Yeah, I think Cech just shades it, definitely.
Reese mentions in the comments David Seaman's an honorable mention. Yeah, David James definitely not though.
Fair. Seaman, James no.
Not a hope. I'd actually give
top tens.
There's one honorable mention we didn't mention, not the comments.
Joe Hart.
No, Alisson Becker.
I was going to say, Alisson Becker's a good show. Right, finally then, great top three Premier League managers of all time.
Okay, this should be quick. Yeah,
I think this is unanimous number one.
Done and dusted.
Yeah, right. Mourinho, Pep, Fergie. Yeah.
Oh no, I don't think. Oh, I have Wenger in there.
You're getting caught up on Wenger. You're getting caught Wenger fourth.
I'd have Wenger in there ahead of Pep. I just think the way he transformed English football, that man just completely brought a new mentality to the Premier League and his style of football.
You have to look at everything, Jonathan.
I am, and he was a glorious looking man as well. Like,
what about the 10 years he didn't win nothing though?
Yeah, that's fair enough. Like, and he probably outstayed his welcome. He stayed longer than he should have. He didn't know when to go, and like Fergie, he knew when to go. But I still just can't look. And this whole 115 charges against Pep is he's just too reliant on money.
The thing is, they're not against Pep. It's not against Pep though. Is the thing.
Yeah, but
the whole money thing. That's the sport nowadays. That's the sport, and Pep is playing the sport.
Tim, my argument for putting Pep second, right, is obviously look. Charged and suspended until he's found guilty, he'll be taken out of it, right? But until that point, I think you have to look at his body of work. The fact he's winning leagues by throwing John Stones into midfield, throwing a Kanji into midfield, like, do you know what I mean? And he's adapting season upon season upon season. And he's he has to be in there. I think Jose Mourinho has to be number 3. The fact, like back-to-back league titles, Chelsea left, came back, and also. He's going to be a future title winner at Man United as well with Chris Smalling and Phil Jones in a centre half. So for that reason, Jose Mourinho, legend, going into number 3. But Fergie.
The only thing that kills Jose for me is his stint at Spurs.
Yeah, I forget about.
He's done too much though. I think for that to tarnish him, he's just.
That's a season we'll forget about. It's like so like how that
COVID. COVID didn't even happen. There was no one even there to witness it. There's no one even there to witness it.
Who won the league in that COVID season?
I haven't a clue. I actually don't know. I think it was voided or something, wasn't it?
Yeah. But the thing is that Spurs thing, right? Wenger staying 9 years without a trophy outweighs Mourinho's one bad season at Spurs. Do you know? I think that's worse. I think that's why Jose is number 3. I think Wenger's fourth. Wenger's fourth.
100%. Sure. I think Tommy T does get an honourable mention as well. That's that.
Klopp is 5th. Ancelotti as well is probably 6th.
Ancelotti's definitely up there.
What about Claudio Ranieri and his mighty Leicester team in 2016?
No, one mighty season does not shout for top 10.
Yeah, we just agree Fergie's number 1. We don't have to explain.
Yeah, there's no explanation.
There's no point.
But Tommy T does get a shout out. Tommy T definitely gets a shout out.
In your head, he does definitely.
Hold on. 18 months. Look what he's done in 18 months.
Look what he's done in the last 18 months.
No, stop it. You can't deny what he's done for Chelsea. You can't.
He would have Champions League in fairness.
He's not up there in the top 3 or top 5, but he gets an honourable mention, 100%.
He's not top 10 either.
He's top 15 for sure.
Maybe
I agree that he's not top 10. He's not top 10.
Beautiful.
But to say he's top 15 for the amount of time he's been there is a fair juice, like.
Evan, you're just going to have to wait for next week until Julio comes back and you're
going
to rekindle.
I'm telling you now.
Yeah, you're going to rekindle.
I'm here in my head and I'm thinking of managers. I don't even think Thomas Tuchel is top 15. You know.
No, you're crazy. No, you're crazy. End it here, quick. Quick.
Yeah.
We're going to have to leave it there. Yeah. Look, gents, it's been a pleasure. Evan, thanks so much. Keane, thanks for popping on tonight. Pleasure to see you again, my friend, after so long. Lads, thanks so much. We had loads of comments in the description or in the comments box there tonight. It was really good. Loads of lads getting involved, loads of people watching. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, comment, it just really helps with the algorithm on YouTube so we get more views and everything like that. But look, guys, it's been a pleasure as always. Thank you so much, and look, we'll see you again soon.